Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I had to put on my reaching hat. Hear me out.
The search continues for two missing boys in California City. The community has been constantly involved trying to help the police in any way they can.
Locals have searched the Mojave Desert every day looking for clues.
We are on the 21st of December right now. We're going to see what type of activities we can pick up on.
How many kids do you remember seeing?
3 or 4 kids.
Did you ever see the boys that came missing?
It was always really quick. Like when we would be coming, they would either run out that way, or they would, like if they were coming in, they would just come in hella fast and just go into their apartment.
This is the lot. It's like a public empty lot near the house. And this is where the infamous gate where the kids supposedly went missing.
This has been a trying investigation for officers in the small police department here in California City.
Let me dispel that right now. That's not possible.
And Chief, what's not possible again?
That the van was seen somewhere out near Civil Shadow yesterday.
No, it was seen the Sunday before they were reported.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, we can follow up on that. Sure.
We
Thanks.
reported it and, never heard back.
Okay.
912 calls were made in 2014 in California to report human trafficking. The number of reported cases are also increasing in Bakersfield.
There was a 230% increase to the hotline.
And that led me to wonder about money. Then I found a post about Venmo transactions that Trezell made.
That the boys could have been picked up by a complete stranger.
Absolutely.
In these types of cases, the majority of times, some family member or somebody known to the family is involved in abducting children.
In my experience, it's been very common, yes.
Ryan Dean is the biological mother of the 2 boys. She and the 2 biological fathers of the children came to the house today to figure out what was happening.
We just spoke to the biological mother. She says she had a conversation with you guys and that she thinks there's some kind of foul play involved. That she thinks you guys did something.
And that's understandable.
What's your response to that?
That's understandable. I would think the same thing.
Yep. I mean, everybody's making their own their own conclusions. They don't know anything. We're not sure like everything. We're not sure.
She probably wanted to feel bad, but she probably knows he's gonna look. She knows.
Thank you for clicking. Today I want to do another one of my All the Suspicious Things About series. If you don't know, this is a series that I do regarding someone or something about a case that I've been following, where I talk about all the suspicious things about it. As usual, I give you guys the facts, we talk about the theories, and then you can decide for yourself. If you've been here before, you know that before I begin, I have to give my thanks to my returning subscribers, old and new. Thank you guys so very much. And I've gotten some new subscribers. I appreciate you guys. Welcome. And of course, my OGs, you guys are the best. You know that. And if you are new here, hi. This is me. I wear a tinfoil hat while I talk about true crime and conspiracies, especially cases where it's both, like this one. So with all that being said, let's dive in. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to talk about all the suspicious things about Trezell and Jacqueline West in the context of the timeline, just so that we can kind of wrap our heads around it and make it make sense. Also, I'm going to be talking about other theories, not just Trezell and Jacqueline, although that is the main focus. I'm going to talk about the Bio family. I'm going to talk about other potential things like kidnapping, abductions, other theories other than that they're guilty. But I'm going to go where the facts lead me, and unfortunately, this is where they led me. So I want to start at the very beginning. I'm talking about before Orrin and Orson were even adopted. Okay, because as I was doing my research, as I was, looking at the feedback I was getting in my comments, a lot of people did think the adoptive parents were suspicious, but a lot of people also were talking about the bio mom. Something seems off about the bio mom. Why is she crying but there are no tears? Why were the kids taken away? They weren't just taken away for no reason. These are the comments that I got. So I decided to look into it. So let's start there, when the kids were taken away. Now I'm going to give it to you straight from the horse's mouth. The mother herself, she goes by Ryan Dean, and also on social media she goes by Paprika Dean. And she has posted some comments on Facebook, as well as family members of hers, the other foster family before the Wests adopted the boys. So let me read you some of those comments. So first off, you see that, you know, her latest post as of me filming this is pretty sad. It's basically her talking about, you know, mommy so sorry babies, and then hashtag cruel ass world, and then she has the fact that the reward has been increased to now $80,000. And she also talks about, you know, how she hasn't slept. And first of all, I want to tell you guys their birth names are actually Sincere with a C and Classic. Okay, those are the names that Paprika gave her sons. And then once they were adopted by Jacqueline and Trezell, they named them as they said themselves in their interview.
We were entrusted with her children, and they came to us, and they became our children, and we named them.
All right, so let's start with this post here, and it begins with, yeah, they were in foster care. Yes, I have certificates completing both parenting classes. Yes, they were placed in foster care upon me getting off work, and my son cry was not normal. I took him to the hospital being a responsible parent, and they took my child from there. I fought hard to get them back. Those that know me personally knows I was trying to do all the classes, maintain a household, and go to work so that they would have something to come back to, even though they had everything they needed and a good home when they got took. And they only took Classic because he was a relative to Sincere, my son, and I just had him and got him out of the NICU due to him being 4 pounds and me having him early because of the stress of trying to get his older brother back before he came along. I originally took Sincere the hospital, I'm sure she means to the hospital, because I felt there was something wrong with him when I got off work. Only thing that I did not comply with was the drug counseling classes because I did smoke marijuana here and there. But that's nothing that's going to make me unfit for my kids, and I had medical marijuana card, and the Ebony counseling would not treat me for marijuana, which is legal, and that's what they said. I even presented a letter to the judge with them stating they don't want to counsel me because it's just marijuana. It's legal and I have a medical marijuana card. The judge turned me down and said, well, go find something. I did what I had to do. And those who know me personally know I love kids. I don't care if a kid is purple, blue, red, pink, I still love any child. And those who knows me personally knows this should have never happened to me. So before MFers want to judge, understand the person and the story on why certain shit happened. Thank you. Have a blessed night. Then there is some more. There's a comment she made where she references the other foster parent, the one that had the kids before the Wests adopted them. And then that person has a comment, and then we get another comment from her father, and then yet another one from her sister. Let's start with the bio mom's other post. So she goes, and come to think of it, I was switched social workers when I seen that the lady who supervised the visit was writing false statements about what one of the fathers was saying during the visit. Keep in mind, Orrin and Orson, or Classic and Sincere, have different fathers. So this is who she's referencing, was saying during the visit, and he didn't say nothing like how she wrote it, and they lied in the paperwork saying LaToya, low tolerance spry, told them she heard the parents tell Sincere to shut up in visit, which was a lie. She did not say that to them. I brought that to everyone's attention, and LaToya, so LaToya is, you know, the other foster mom. So LaToya even called them and told them she didn't appreciate them lying, saying she said stuff she didn't say. And then all of a sudden they were removed from her. And that's how I'm looking at it. I was told it was going to be fixed. It was never fixed. Next thing you know, I had a new social worker because I said I was going to sue them for lying in the paperwork. So then that person, LaToya Low Tolerance Spry, comments. So here it is. She says, facts, 100%. I had the boys over for a year, and when they realized that me and Ryan and Dad had built a bond with one another. Remember, Ryan and Paprika are one and the same. It seems like it added more fuel to the fire. I tried suing the county, and first of all, no one would even hear my story. Nobody would pick up my case. Then I finally found a lawyer that specializes in CPS, and I was told if I kept pursuing it, it could be looked at as being aggressive. They wouldn't even let me see the boys, and after a year to shut me up, they told me they were being adopted on 2 weeks. I guess in 2 weeks is what she meant. And there was nothing I could do. And that also was a lie. They were not adopted till 2019. And I found this out on day 2 of their disappearance. This is true. The boys were adopted by Trezell and Jacqueline West in April of 2019. So now let's look at, this is a post from the bio mom's father. So this is the bio grandfather, maternal. He says, "My daughter is not the suspect or culprit in this or any other matter. She has no fault in the total lapse and total mishandling of this entire case presided by Kern County CPS and the West family's incompetence. No one from this family has threatened anyone from the West family. It's disgusting how this family is trying to include my daughter with their incompetence and endangerment of Classic and Sincere. Kern County CPS took my grandbabies from my daughter while the maturity of her case was not completed, due to the negligence of Kern County CPS worker who didn't like my daughter's attitude. While placing my grandbabies with these 2 incompetent people, the video shown by your neighbor shows you, Trezell, didn't do anything what you told KGET 17 News. The West family, as well as Kern County, is absolutely responsible for everything that's occurring at this point in time concerning my grandbabies. Whatever my daughter did to get her kids taken away by Kern County negligent CPS worker doesn't warrant to the incompetence of Trezell and Jacqueline West. So the accountability of my missing grandbabies strictly lies on the heads of Kern County and the West family." And finally, I would like to read you her sister's post. She says, "Exactly. My sister has spoken nothing but the truth. Claudia Thomas Robertson." Quote, "I have tried to refrain from commenting when I see heartless idiots try to slander my sister and our family. I am the biological auntie of Sincere and Classic, not no damn Orson and Orrin. And we tried to get them. Some of us got approved to get them. And then a last-minute decision was made for them to stay where they were. Not because we were unfit, not because we didn't want them, but because a social worker who was placed on the case for all of 5 minutes, quote, felt it was best, end quote. My nephews had a good home with my sister. We come from a good family. Something that happened while my sister was at work is what got them in the system. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter how they got there, but what the F happened to them while they were there. Why were a 3- and 4-year-old left to play outside at night? Where are they now? Somebody knows what happened, and the truth will come out." A little background about Trezell and Jacqueline West is that they have 6 kids in their custody. Well, they don't anymore, but at the time they were taking care of 6 kids. They were supposed to be. That's 2 that are their biological kids, 2 that they were fostering at the time, and then the 2 adopted kids that were missing. Also, according to Jacqueline and Trezell, the boys were last seen wearing the same exact thing, which is black sweatshirts and gray sweatpants, that in itself is interesting. And they are described as being 3 feet tall and approximately 30 to 40 pounds. So just itty bitty little things. Also notable on the missing persons flyer, the official one from the official website, is the mention of a fractured knee. It's actually a fractured lower left leg. Sorry, I'm going to say knee in the next scene. Leg. Regarding this knee, there was a little bit of confusion, and I just want to tell you what I found about it. So the first thing I want to play you is the police being asked about the fractured knee and what they had to say.
On Orrin West, listed as a fractured lower left leg. Were you aware about that?
No, fractured leg can happen, especially with small children, any way possible. I mean, they fall down a lot.
Then I tried to do some digging myself to see what was up with the knee, because if he had a fractured knee, I can't imagine them walking. So what I found was, and take this with a grain of salt, but it's a post on Web Sleuths, and this is what it says. Somebody had posted saying, I could see baby Orson following big brother Orrin out of the gate on an adventure, but older brother Orrin has a fractured leg. Ponder that. And then somebody says, I believe that it's more a scar that the poster is referring to rather than a current injury, but that's just my guess. Otherwise, I'd have thought it would be mentioned by the adoptive parents and more so the birth mother. Bigger question is, how does a 3 or 4-year-old fracture their leg? Their bones are so pliable at that age unless there's heavy trauma, which that is obviously up for debate. Some people, as you heard the cop said, it's easy, that happens. I also heard that that might have been the injury that caused the bio mom to lose the boy, that coupled with her baby being, you know, premature and very low weight. Maybe they thought she was negligent and that's what led to it, but that's completely a theory. So now I want to fast forward from, you know, the kids being adopted and all that led to it. April 2019, okay, we have that. We know that they lived in Bakersfield until September. In the beginning, about September 9th, they purchased the house in Cal City. They moved there, you know, nobody saw the kids. And now I want to go to December 19th, 2020, because this is 2 days before the kids are to be reported missing. It is also when we get our first piece of the surveillance footage, the bombshell footage that was obtained by AV.WATCHMEN United We Stand. This guy is amazing, and you know, he has a personal story. He recently, I think like about a year ago, lost his own daughter, and so you could tell this is like very personal for him, and he's out there doing the Lord's work, like searching and you know, he's doing amazing. Please subscribe to him if you haven't. I'm sure you have, but anyway, that's who I got this footage from his channel. Everything will be linked down below, as well as my other sources as usual. All right, so let's talk about December 19th. Now, the thing about December 19th is that Trezell and Jacqueline claim that they took all 6 of the kids that were supposed to be in their custody at this time to Bakersfield to go Christmas shopping. Now, this footage that I'm about to show you, it's a little fuzzy. I tried to like splice it and make it look a little bit clearer and zoomed in, but I want you guys to look and see how many kids you think you see going into this car. Is it 6 kids or is it 4 kids?
December 19th, 11:32 a.m.
Look, he comes out. You see him coming out, comes, opens that side door again. This little part right here, you'll see the kids jumping in the van right now. So there it goes. That's 1, I believe. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4.
And 4.
And the wife.
And the wife. So he just kind of sort of rushed them in. Did you see that?
Quick.
Now, I know some people said it was clear as day. Other people said that I can't see anything. So, I mean, for me, I tilt my head to the side and I saw 4. I saw like the parents, and then it seemed like he was kind of, come on, single file, very like military style, you know what I mean? Which he supposedly has a background. Trezell has a military background, and some people say, you know, he's got anger issues and but I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's assume that only 4 children are taken to this trip in Bakersfield instead of the 6 that he claims were taken to Bakersfield. That would make him a liar in this instance, and that's very suspicious, because why are you lying about having the kids and taking them to a place that you didn't? Okay, why would somebody lie about something like that? The other suspicious thing about all this is the fact that nobody from multiple sources has ever seen the 2 missing boys in Cal City.
People have cameras, police cameras already. Check the cameras, and everyone those have cameras.
No
kids.
kids.
Neighbors sitting on cameras.
No kids.
See nothing.
That was the 20th?
That was the 20th.
Did you see there was no sign at all that day either?
No,
So no days.
No days. He pretty much never let the kids come out and play. Never.
None of the neighbors have seen the kids.
Ever.
No.
There was never a sighting of the children?
Not that we know of. They've only been here since September.
Was there a sighting of the parents' other children?
Not that I know of.
And even though they were seen in Bakersfield, they were not really seen that much. Listen.
I would send my daughter out to give it to them, and you know, she would knock on the door and they wouldn't open the door. They would just look through the people and they'll be like, no thank you, and my daughter would be like, oh, we got juices for you. No, it's okay, no thank you, we don't want them.
Of course, they would love to go out, but so during the pandemic, we weren't trying to go, out here. And so we stayed inside.
So now let's continue with the timeline. I want to go from the 19th to the 21st of December. That is the day the kids were reported missing.
So, tell us what happened the night the kids went missing.
Okay.
From our yard.
Okay. It was cold. I was gonna make a fire. There's a lot of wood in this area right here next to our house.
This is the lot. It's like a public empty lot near the house.
I opened up the back gate. I'm throwing wood, bringing it inside the house. My wife's inside. She was actually wrapping gifts, so we thought it was a good idea that our youngest two would go outside and play with chalk on the back patio.
So let's look at the facts, okay? On December 21st, at around the time that the footage was taken, this is what the weather was. You can see that it was about 50 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. That night in Cal City, the sunset was at 4:44 p.m. Now, I know some of you who are not from California, you think 50, 40 degrees, you would go swimming in that weather. But as a Californian, and especially little boys that are from California, that's freezing for us, okay? So it's all relative, I know, but it is cold to us. So now let's talk about the firewood, right? Because he said he was gathering the firewood. My first thought was, well, they have solar panels on the home. Like what all is their energy source? What is their heating source? So I looked up the home on Zillow, and it turns out they have electric forced air heating, which that type of heating does not require firewood, okay? A forced air system usually uses, natural gas, propane, oil, electricity to heat the home. Okay, and then the air is heated in the furnace and distributed throughout your house via ductwork. However, I do have to say that in looking at the photographs of the home, they do have a fireplace. You can look at the picture right here. There's a fireplace. So, in all fairness, maybe they were trying to save money. Maybe they wanted a cozy fire. I don't know. It's not out of the realm of possibility that he was gathering firewood for a fire and that was true. Now, we can also look at the area because I went there and I have that footage. A lot of people have gone there. The desert isn't known for firewood, although there were twigs and, like tumbleweeds and branches there. So, theoretically you could do, start a fire with that. So we'll leave that where it is. So now let's talk about the premise, right? That in order for them to wrap the gifts in secrets, they had to put the kids outside in the cold. Let's look at some more pictures of their home. Because yes, a lot of people are saying, 6 children and 3 bedrooms. Oh my God. But remember, and I got this wrong in my last video and I corrected it in the pinned comment. The other kids were not there. According to them, the other kids were at their grandparents on a vacation, right? So there's only 2 kids in the house and there are 2 parents in the house and there are 3 bedrooms as well as bathrooms. Look at all the different places that the kids could have been supervised while the other parent was wrapping the gifts. I just find it very odd that they would choose to put 3- and 4-year-old children in a desert night playing with chalk while he's grabbing firewood when They didn't need to grab firewood, and they didn't need to put the kids outside. I'm just saying. Also, talking a little bit about the house, I found a post on social media where people were saying that this used to be a grow house. Now, California City, it is zoned. Like, I forget the zoning type, but it is zoned like for growing. So there are a lot of grow houses in California City. There's a dispensary there. Remember, they are the ones who are offering the reward and did a search party, blah, blah, blah. So it's not like a odd or strange thing that a home used to be a grow home and then it gets converted. But the reason why I'm mentioning this is because according to this comment, they're saying here, someone changed it. It was a grow house for a while, and the garage in the back was separated and turned into 2 rooms. In the garage, there's a room attached to the inside of the garage that looks like a door leading outside, but it's a room. I called it in. And then somebody else says, whoa, I almost bought that home. There is a hidden room in the garage and 2 additional rooms out back. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning this is because that's another area that the kids could have been hidden away from the gifts, but not in the cold out there with the gate open. Do you know what I'm saying? There were other options that made more sense, which again makes their story, what? Suspicious. My conspiracy. Right? The next part of their story is the chalk. Okay, I want to talk about the playing with chalk thing. Okay, first of all, I went there and I didn't see any chalk. However, I will say I was not out there, you know, a day after, a few days. I was out there a little bit after that, after New Year's. So maybe it was cleaned, it was wiped. You know, the fact that I didn't see chalk there doesn't mean that there wasn't chalk there. However, I looked online and I found aerial shots of when the police were searching their yard, and that was very shortly after they were missing. And guess what? No chalk, no toys, no sign of any children playing there. It doesn't look like anybody did anything other than him and his wife sit out there, because there's only 2 chairs and that's it. So also, I checked the weather to see if it rained. It doesn't really rain much in the desert, and it didn't rain between when the kids were playing with chalk and when the footage was taken, which showed there was no chalk. I think they were lying, and there was no chalk, there were no kids, nobody was playing there. Again, my conspiracy. All right, so now I want to play you some more interview footage and surveillance footage that contradict each other. The best way to illustrate this for you guys is I have edited the interview, what they're saying, and I've cross-referenced it with the security footage that was obtained by AV.WATCHMEN United We Stand from the neighbor's home. And I want you guys to watch this. You're gonna see what they say, you're gonna see the footage, you're gonna see, and it is just like back to back to back, so suspicious. They are caught in a lie, in more than one lie, actually. Listen.
Do not let them go on the dirt in the backyard. We keep them close. They was playing with chalk, and I came in the house. I saw them there. I went in the house. I came back out. I didn't see them now. I immediately went back in, asked my wife, did you see the boys? She said, no, they should be outside playing with chalk. I said, well, I didn't see them, so I came back outside and I started searching my backyard. I searched the whole thing.
Right here, that's the gate that he said was open, and he was walking in and out of that gate, I guess, throwing firewood.
Oh, there he is right there.
There he is. You guys can see him walking there. What time is that at? It's at 16:13. Yeah, right now we're at 16:20.
He's still back there. You can see him still back there doing, I don't know what.
No, look, we're able to see him. We could have seen the kids too, bro. They were in the backyard. He's claiming that they vanished from the rear.
Right there at the 28 mark, the light in the front is not even on yet.
And we haven't seen no kids leave out that rear. Even if we did, we would have seen them come out to the front. Boom, the light just turned on now to the van. On the side of the van.
I would figure he would come out running, right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Him and his wife, because on the 19th...
They would have been out there screaming and yelling,
but they said they searched the backyard. I haven't seen any heads running back and forth back here yet.
No one.
Already been 15 minutes since he went in the house. He went in at like the 14 mark, right?
Yep.
So supposedly he ransacked the house and then ransacked the yard. But we haven't seen him ransack the yard at all.
I realized that I left the gate open and I panicked, came inside the house, searched the house, me and my wife. Once that didn't pan out, I got in the van. I looked down the street, both directions. It was getting dark, getting cold, and I got in the van and I hit a bunch of corners.
So that's what, 15 minutes?
Yeah.
There's the light. There's a light blinking on the van.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
there you go.
There it is.
side door opens.
Door's open.
He is in no rush.
Yeah, like if you're gonna run to jump in your car to take off, why would you sit in from the passenger side? Like, you know how hard it is to like jump over the center console, like, right? You're rushing, like.
Yeah.
It's kind of.
Yeah, this hella suspect,
And,
bro.
but he never went walking down the street at all.
No, he didn't even
Nope.
walk to the front of the street to see if they're on the.
He didn't go
front.
back into the rear to look for him. Nowhere.
You look behind the side of the car, like maybe they're on the other side of the car. Just.
Yeah.
He didn't sit from that side.
At the end of the road over here, it tees off to what, an open road, or is that the main road? When you go back like this way, away from back, like heading towards the road this way?
Yeah. So he left at 16:33 and he's back by
Look
16:38.
how fast he's coming back. He's punching it, bro. Look
Yeah,
at that.
yeah, he's moving.
Look at that. He's from that street to here in what was that, 3 seconds?
Yeah.
4 seconds?
He's back. Done.
I went down this street. I turned my light on. I searched. I called their names. Talked to a gentleman on the street on the other side over there. He didn't see no one. So then I came home and I told my wife we need to call the cops. It's getting dark and I need help. We gotta get going. So I called the cops.
So this is another suspicious thing. His story kind of doesn't make sense because he says, you know, he looked, the kids were there. He looked again, they weren't there. He panicked, he noticed the gate was open, and he decides to run back in the house. That doesn't make sense, right? Because think about it, you know, like I had an experience where I left a gate open and my dog went out. When I called the dog and realized the dog wasn't inside and the gate was open, the last thing I would do was go in the house where it's fine if they're in the house. You want to go to where it's not okay for them to be to make sure they're not there, right? So the first thing I did when I'm like, oh my God, and my dog got out, I immediately went out of the gate and went where I thought the dog was. And lo and behold, my dog was chasing a rabbit. And long story short, that's what I did. This doesn't make any sense that he would see the gate being open. He would panic thinking they left out of the gate, but then he would go look for them inside, right? Or am I missing something? Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. Let me know. The next thing I noticed is a time discrepancy in the timeline. And this could be a simple error, but I want to mention it because when you look at the timestamps on the surveillance footage, everything is sort of happening at around 4:30, 4:45. That's also the same time that Trezell and Jacqueline say everything happened in terms of when they noticed the kids missing and when they called the police and everything like that. But then the officer says that they got a call at 5:45.
The 21st of December, we got a call to this location about 5:45 p.m.
At what time did you guys notice your kids went missing, and at what time were they reported missing to the police?
It's about, I believe, I think it was about 4:30, going on 5. It was getting dark, like I said.
5-ish.
5-ish. That's about it. That's when everything played out.
When did you guys call the police to report them missing?
After we searched a little bit around here, it was dark, so we definitely we got worried.
Would you say it was maybe within an hour, a couple hours?
No, it was within minutes of us getting finished with our search.
Okay.
It was within minutes.
Comes, opens the door, gets out, goes in front of his house, and just stands there, bro. You know what I mean?
He's not looking for no kids, bro.
So what happens is he pretty much stands there right in front of his house for about another 5 to 6 minutes.
Cops came. First thing they did was tell us to stay in the house so they can get a hold of us.
So 4:52 now, right?
See him right there?
Right. Okay, here comes the cops.
First officer pulling up to the scene. So look.
Yeah,
look
the
at him.
feds, the FBI has it.
He's gonna look at him. He kind of hesitated, then he went. I don't know if you did figure.
I've
but
seen that.
Then his wife hesitated. So now he goes and he tells the cops, and that's his wife walking in the back.
I'm not quite sure if this is just a slip of the tongue, or it could also be something to do with the cameras. Maybe it was daylight savings, or you know, when there's an hour back. You know how that is when there's an hour spring forward, whatever it's called. So maybe that's what it is. But then if the footage was wrong, then Trezell and Jacqueline would be an hour off in what they're saying. I think it's more likely the cop potentially misspoke and said 5:45 when he meant to say 4:45. I don't know. I would love to know what you guys think about that, because maybe I'm missing something. But I did notice a discrepancy in the timeline, and so I wanted to mention it. Okay, let's talk about the next suspicious thing, and that is that Trezell and Jacqueline did not join the search for their kids. Now, there's another discrepancy with this too, and they were caught in a lie, because they claim when they went and did their interview, they said that they were told by police not to search, that they weren't allowed to search.
And they had us just sitting there, and we wanted to keep searching. But everybody came out in droves, and I wanted to thank you guys that night, but we couldn't go outside.
The cops told us the best are out here.
The best are out here searching.
But if you look at the footage, you'll see that right after the cops come, Trezell gets in his car, and he does the same exact search that he did right before they came. The same path and everything. But he's claiming that as soon as they came, they told them to stay inside. No, they were searching and they let you search.
So the cop takes off, searching too, I'm doing this. So he hops back in his car when the cop pulls up, right? But he was just standing around before that.
Doing
so
nothing.
He comes out the same way, how he pulled in, came out the same. Look what he does. What is he doing, bro? Look what he does.
Exact same.
Look what he does.
Then I thought, okay, well, it is possible that later on they were told to stay inside, because maybe they were seen as suspects, you know, and maybe the police were like, let's make sure they're not out there tampering or interfering with the search. So that may well be true. But the footage proves that right when the police came, they did not stop them from searching like Trezell said they did. Hear me out, okay? This is what I think. I think that they did not want to deal with the community. They did not want to deal with them, asking them, how could you leave them outside? How could you leave them in the cold? Everything, because the community was not shy about asking the tough questions, which I'm glad they weren't. And look, they got a taste of it when they went to do the interview. And even Jackie herself said that this is why she didn't want to come out and search and talk to them.
It's crazy because y'all say y'all came out looking for the kids, and y'all got neighbors that say y'all ain't even came out looking for no kids. The neighbors weren't out here.
We were looking.
We were looking.
If you guys actually have that question, you should ask the police officer. That's one of the reasons why we actually didn't want to do this.
This is the reason why.
Because the Bio family.
Unresponsible, left the gate open, left some little kids outside with the gate open.
All right.
I feel like, you know, the whole search, like that was just a show. I think Trezell did it as a show. I don't think he was real. I mean, I've searched for my dog. I've searched for an earring more thoroughly than he searched for his children. It was so weird that he spent more time waiting for the police than he did searching for his kids when it was in the crucial moments. How could you just sit there? Unless you knew that they weren't there and you were just waiting so that you could tell your story, playing everything in your head, calming your nerves, getting yourself together. And the other thing, let's talk about Jacqueline. Let's talk about her, because you don't ever see her at all. She doesn't search. She doesn't really come out of the house except when their cops are there. She barely talks, and then when she does talk, she's stuttering over her words, she's stumbling. Her whole thing, I don't know if he is like controlling everyone and she's afraid of him and she's going along with it, or if she did something, or if they both, I don't know. But it's just, as a mother, and I'm using quotations here, I don't understand her behavior, and it's very suspicious. that she was not seen at all on the footage in the backyard, in the front, looking. I mean, you would think they would be, you know, the house isn't that big for them to search all that time. And the gate was open. So, you know, when he's in the car, how come she's not out on this side? I mean, sorry, I'm getting too like excitable. It is now Monday night, right? This is the day the kids went missing. And the people are searching, right? Trezell and Jacqueline are not, but the community's searching, the cops are searching, and they have canines. I want to talk about the canines.
At what point did you guys decide to bring out dogs to try to help out in this investigation?
Done that. It's been done multiple times.
And the canines consistently found that the scent of the children did not leave the house?
Correct.
If their scent was just even a bit outside of the home, would they actually follow that scent?
Generally, yes.
The fact that the scent hit inside the house does not necessarily mean that their kids were actually physically there. Their belongings, such as their clothes, their toys, whatever, could still have residual scent on them, which the dogs would pick up, okay? Also, it could very well be that the kids were inside the house and they did go missing that day or sometime, but that they actually were in Cal City, but nobody saw them. That's also possible, and that would explain why the dogs hit. Now, why didn't the dogs hit outside? The first thing that everyone's thinking is because the kids were never outside. They weren't allowed to come outside. Nobody saw them outside. There's no sign of them outside. They weren't outside. Now, if we want to give them the benefit of the doubt and we want to explore all options, which I like to do, you know, there's a lot of wind, you know, dogs are, you know, dog error. Is there such a thing like human error? I don't know. It's possible. But what is it as well? Suspicious. So now it's Tuesday afternoon and Trezell and Jacqueline West are taken in for questioning. According to the police, they are cooperating. According to witnesses, they went willingly. They did not see any handcuffs on them. And it appears that they were questioned and they were released and they were not named suspects at the time. However, that same night that they were taken in for questioning, cops came back to their home with a search warrant. Now, Trezell was saying, I don't know why they needed a search warrant. We let them in and we gave them all our tech and they searched and everything like that. But they came in with a search warrant, you know, just in case. And this is what they did when they got there. They took several items from the house in brown bags. They even took a duffel bag. As we know, they took their phones and they towed the vehicle. The next suspicious thing is that the police themselves suspect foul play.
I can't comment on that, whether I think they're alive or not. I do suspect foul play, but I can't.
Why do you suspect foul play in this case?
We have no way of knowing how they got out of the yard. Nothing that shows how they got out of the yard and if they wandered out of the yard. We haven't been able to put together, you know, how the boys got out of the yard or where they've gone.
As a matter of fact, they are so suspicious of these parents, even though they're not naming them suspects, that they took all of their kids out of the house.
Oh, the other 4 kids are in protective custody right now, yes.
Have you questioned them at all?
I can't comment on that right now. Anytime anything happens in a household where it involves any kids, all the kids are taken out of the household.
You have a lot of missing, you know, persons cases in Bakersfield, and when a parent reports their child missing, the other kids aren't taken away from them.
If there's any kind of a juvenile situation where there's been any kind of neglect, any kind of harm to any of the children, we automatically have to take all the other kids out of the house.
To me, even though the police are refusing to name them as suspects because maybe they want them to get comfortable, they don't want them to tighten up and hide things and make moves and, you know, because then they'll get comfortable, they might make a mistake, they might, you know, allow something to happen that could solve the case. So just because they're saying they're not suspects doesn't mean they're not looking at them as suspects, they're just not officially declaring it. However, the fact that they take all the children out of the home and saying that they suspect foul play is very telling, and in fact it speaks volumes. Actions speak louder than what? Words. Let's get back to the timeline. Now it's Wednesday afternoon. The kids have been missing for 2 days, and the major thing happens on this day, and that is the interview, the infamous interview with Trezell and Jacqueline West. What also happens that day? Cops come back again to search. You know what else they did that day? that is the day that they dug up the yard.
How extensive was the digging in the backyard?
Fairly extensive.
Anything useful turn up?
No.
The funny thing is that they themselves admit that they are suspicious, that they look suspicious, and that if they were in the bio mom's position, they would suspect them too.
You know, this is the first time we're hearing from you guys, and I can't imagine what you guys are going through. I can't even fathom it. For you guys, for people who are thinking that there's some kind of foul play involved, you know, we just spoke to the biological mother. She says she had a conversation with you guys, and that she thinks there's some kind of foul play involved. That she thinks you guys did something.
And that's understandable.
What's your response to that?
That's understandable. I would think the same thing.
Yep.
They know their story is weird and doesn't make sense, and I think that they're going with it because, you know what, the truth is much worse. So, you know, about this position that he was in, I want to talk about that a little bit because I mentioned it in my first video and most people were like, yeah, that's so weird. Some people were like, well, you know, he didn't have a jacket on, maybe he's cold. People are saying, well, compare him to Chris Watts. Chris Watts was, you know, doing this and it's self-soothing and blah, blah, blah. And then other people were like, well, what if it's defensive wounds? Maybe there are cuts or wounds or things that may have happened to his hands when he was committing a crime against these kids, and that's why he was hiding it. But if you think about whether this happened recently or something happened much, you know, like in September or something like that in Bakersfield, that doesn't really make sense. Let me know, what do you guys think about this? Is it normal? Is it weird? He could have not worn a jacket on purpose because she had one, so that his hands being like that were not as suspicious as they really are. I don't know. I could be reaching. Now I want to get into the theories because there are, I would say, 3 main theories. So the first theory is, you know, the adoptive parents did something to the kids, whether it's hurt them, sell them, something. The other theory is, you know, a kidnapping. Could it be the bio family kidnapped them? Could it be stranger danger type of situation? And the third theory is that, you know, the kids really were there. They somehow wandered off and they just vanished. I want to start with the Bakersfield theory. They either did something violent, maybe he flew into a rage, or maybe it was something like he sold them or they sold them, you know, in Bakersfield. The first thing that's leading to this theory is obviously the fact that nobody has seen the kids in Cal City at all. They did something and they moved locations and decided to report it at a totally different location to throw everyone off. I went to Bakersfield by myself, unprepared. I thought it was going to be a search party. It wasn't. And then I don't know, somebody lied to me and told me I was a detective and I thought I was doing something. I didn't do anything. AV.WATCHMEN, on the other hand, he like had a person with him and a camera, like a good setup and everything, which is amazing because he managed to get in there and talk to a neighbor. And this neighbor said, you know, that not only did he not see them, but they had like a parking spot that was more, you know, obvious, but they chose a discreet area to park.
They had their parking spot right here, but I don't know why they would park back there. The guy used to drive like a big long white van, and they would always park back there. They would just, as soon as, like I said, when we would come out sometimes, if they were to see us, they would kind of either backtrack, kind of back into the apartment, or if we would come out, they would kind of try to rush out that way.
And then he talked about this weird stick.
The dude, because he always used to walk out here with a stick, and I remember because I always thought that he was into martial arts and stuff like that. He looked like a little fit guy, and it was like a brown stick that he used to walk around with. But he would just, like I said, he would walk around here, and then like I just assumed it was martial arts because he was always kind of spinning it. It was just a wooden stick, or, you know.
Speaking of the stick and potential violence and all that, I want to talk about some pictures that I found, and it's so sad, but I found pictures of the boys. Some were ones that the bio mom posted where they look happy. Well, it was just one kid, but he looked really happy. And then there were other pictures from when they were, you know, not with the bio mom and were with, you know, the Wests, and they don't look very happy. And also, I don't know if it's the lighting, but it looked like there might have been some bruising and a cut. Then again, they're kids. This could have happened on accident, but you know, when you look at the situation now, it starts to look a little bit different, you know? When I heard about the stick and I saw the pictures of this kids and all that, I remembered this whole weird thing of the rambunctious thing. And there was a moment in the interview at the end when the interviewer asked them to kind of like freeball it, right? He's like, well, what do you want to say about the boys?
What kind of boys are these? Tell us about the boys.
Very playful, very rambunctious, and they do love to wrestle. They do love to kind of get rough with each other.
Kids.
They're kids.
So he does the rambunctious thing, which we know the first time he was like, they're gonna be rambunctious. They're gonna be around here.
They are going to be rambunctious, okay? They are going to be here in this area.
To me, and this is a theory, why is he making a point to say they're rough, they wrestle, they're rambunctious? Are you trying to explain away potential bruising that we might see if we find them? I don't know. So this is the next thing I want to talk about, the whole thing about the skill saw. So when I went to their home in Cal City and I spoke to the guy across the street, he told me about the skill saw.
Neighbors say here in the afternoons, somebody worked with the skill saws.
Then I also remembered a post that I saw from the bio mom talking about sawdust. So first of all, if you don't know what a skill saw is, here's a picture of it. It's, you know, a saw. She posts, they did something. Why would all the bottles of liquor be in y'all trash can and a bag of sawdust? Y'all was already preparing to call the police, so y'all cleaned out the house. Just tell the truth, man. You know, she is saying that you guys had this whole thing planned. It wasn't a frantic, oh my God, last minute calling the police. We don't have time to clean up the house. No. They made sure to make the house look good, make themselves look like fit parents who aren't drinking a lot of liquor, because if you are saying the kids are missing, inevitably they're going to want to come and search your house. And then she mentions this bag of sawdust. You know, if you're sawing something with a skill saw, you're going to have sawdust. What was he sawing, and is it significant? I'm not sure, but it's one of these things where I don't know what it means, but it might be something, it might not. So I mention it now, maybe later on it turns into something. Okay, so let's talk about the next theory. This is the, you know, abduction, selling, trafficking theory. The police chief was asked if there's a human trafficking issue in Cal City.
Has there been a human trafficking issue in Cal City or recent cases?
Not that I'm aware of.
But remember, something could have happened in Bakersfield as well. I did some digging, and turns out Bakersfield has a pretty big human trafficking problem. I found an article from October 2020, and I want to read you a part of it. 3 billboards went up on Union Avenue to raise awareness of human trafficking, which has been on the rise in Kern County during the pandemic. Kern was already a cesspool for traffickers before the pandemic, as one of the few counties in the state without a law enforcement-led task force. The laws are not as strict here, Bennett said. So, despite COVID, there's been an uptick of people buying and people being sold. Then I found another article, and this is what it says. It says the KC, so that's Kern County, DHS, has received more than 200 reports of local children involved in human trafficking over the past few years. Quote, human trafficking is still very prevalent in Kern County because of our location and our demographics. Then I found another article, and this is what it said. According to Polaris, the nonprofit in charge of the National Human Trafficking Hotline, Kern County has one of the highest concentrations of trafficking in our nation. And that led me to wonder about money. So when I did a background check on Trezell, it said that he was an entrepreneur. And when I looked into it, it seemed like he had an album, like he was trying to do music. And his dog looks just like my dog Diesel, which was like kind of weird. And then also it seemed like he may have had some sort of ice cream business to do with his vehicle. Then I found a post about Venmo transactions that Trezell made around the time he moved into the home and around the time the kids went missing. So first of all, the home was sold for almost $200,000, $197,000. In this Venmo transaction post that I found, it shows here that on June 17th, 2020, there was, he paid someone for home inspection. Then October 6th, 2020. So this is about a month after he moves into the home. So you would think, you know, his first month mortgage, you know, payment is due. He has a loan payment, and then about 20 something days after that, he does another payment, loan, and then a month later, a little bit more than that. So it looks like maybe that payment was a little early on the 29th, and then December 1st, again, loan. The reason why I'm telling you all this is the theory is that they sold the kids, they used that money to buy the house, and that, you know, that's why they did it. I don't know, they went from an apartment to a house. For Jackie, I couldn't find anything, what she does for work. If you guys were able to find, please let me know. So let's talk about the next theory, and that is kidnapping. That somebody other than Trezell and Jacqueline is responsible for this, whether it be the bio family or a stranger, and so I wanted to look into that. Let's talk about the mother. The mother joined the search. She seemed to be very emotional.
I just had to be here because my babies are supposed to be missing from this house. I just need to be right here, right now. I never thought that I would be in this situation.
I don't know if she did kidnap them, then they would be hiding somewhere with other people, but it seems like a lot of her family was there. People were there with her. I don't know. I couldn't really find anything that made her look like she's the one who took the kids. I want to show you some facts regarding the theory that a stranger could have done something, because I did a search, 2 different searches on 2 different websites, and the results were depressing in both. So this is from the Megan's Law website. I mean, I don't know what you would consider a lot, but to me, 1 is too many. But you can see here the black house, that's where the house is, and all the blue dots around them are offenders, and then all the red ones are offender in violation. This is the one I did from the background search. And again, it shows the address here, Aspen Ave. You can see the address is in blue, and the ones in red are all of the offenders. Ugh, don't read the descriptions of what they did. You will throw up in your mouth. So there is no shortage of creeps in the area. The interesting thing about this theory is that this is a theory that Jackie, and I'm sure Trezell as well, really want you to believe.
What do you think happened to your boys? Do you think someone took them? Do you think they're lost? Do you think...
Yeah, definitely. I definitely know they're not walking around. They're not that kind. They do not just roam around. You know, these patches, they definitely, I think definitely would have been picked up or something.
That was my assumption.
And now we have the final theory, and that is the one that is, in my opinion, the least likely, but let's talk about it. This theory is that the kids wandered off. According to the police chief, this is highly unlikely.
Have you guys started combing through the desert yet?
No, it's been my experience, especially with small children, you always start from the inside out.
It's always circling back to them, to Trezell and Jacqueline. It's so depressing that the best case scenario is that they're, what, alive and sold? Is that even a best case scenario for them to be with some doing God? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So I just pray that they're okay. And if they're no longer with us, at least they're at peace. They lived such a long life for being so young. You know what I mean? Please let me know what you guys think. If you like what you see, subscribe. If not, don't. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.